paradox are the mother of transcendence.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But of course, mathematicians were horrified. So they emasculated Cantor's theory to try to make it safe, but less interesting, less fertile.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Now, omega, I feel very sympathetic to your view of chaos. Omega looks random or looks chaotic, but it's creative chaos because it has a lot of, it's like concentrated creativity. It's like you take all of mathematical creativity and you compress it as much as possible so it turns into some kind of diamond, you know.
Yes.
And that's what omega is. It's the essence, purified essence of mathematical creativity, showing that there's an infinite amount out there.
It's not chaos in the sense, it's not chaotic in the sense that it needs order, but it's chaotic in the sense that it gives birth to any possible order, which is very different.
So this fits in with your philosophy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't need order.
Yeah.
It just actually creates orders.
Yeah,
which is
maybe
different.
It's time for a new philosophy, you know, taking all of this into account.
I think it is time, yes. Yeah. I think it's the right time. And it's quite enjoyable to feel that it is the right time to do that.
Well, there is progress. The conventional view that that Gödel is a tragedy, you know, for pure thought, for pure reason, for pure mathematics. I always felt the exact opposite, that this is the most interesting piece of math I've ever seen. I want to understand it better.
It's an opening.
Yeah.
It's a door. It's not a door that prevents you from going out of the room. It's a door that, it's a door that opens to the real world, to the world outside.
Yeah, as if you're in the Platonic world of mathematical ideas, and all of a sudden Gödel says, hey, there's a hole in the wall, and what is it? What's on the other side?
But you know what? I even think that we are misinterpreting Plato, because I tend, in my first life as a philosopher, I tended to despise Plato, because I thought, like, what are those dialogues? I mean, everybody knows what the guy in front of Socrates will say. I mean, I would not say that. Of course, it's so simple. Yes, la 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 la, and it's so puerile. It's so childish in a way.
But it's good theater, though. They're arguing.
But after a while,
and drinking and arguing, right?
Yeah, and after a while, I felt that actually Plato was trying to. He wasn't trying to assert. He wasn't trying to reach a finite truth, something that is like pure, like what some people interpreted it afterwards. He was actually trying to do the opposite, trying to open the windows in ourselves. So at the end of the dialogue, we will say, all that look absurd, and the beautiful is supposed to be that, and the good is supposed to be that, but at the end, nobody really knows. The world of ideas is actually the windows through something you can't define if you are not into some kind of a contemplative, infinite, world. And I tended to think so. And when I read the Alexandrian Neoplatonians like Plotin, for instance, it was exactly that. I think it was exactly that. It's just this part that...
He's something of a mystic?
Exactly. It's like just the mystical...
so that's
openness. But some people, I think my colleagues and in Paris at the École Normale Supérieure and all that are into the details of Plato. They said, Plotin is just bullshit. He doesn't understand Plato. I don't think so. I think he actually does understand Plato. And if Plato was seeing those people from Normal Sup nowadays, he will say, what are they talking about? I don't care about the details. I just want to induce this contemplative state.
Yeah. Well, Bourbaki was very much in a Hilbertian spirit. They wanted to present the definitive version of all of mathematics, you know. It was an interesting attempt, and their version of things, they looked for the maximum generality and abstraction. It was a valuable contribution, but it becomes a prison, you know, when you say this is mathematics and it has to be done this way, and that suppresses suppresses human creativity. Yeah, so so I think incompleteness is good, and maybe we feel sympathetic to openness and creativity.
But you know what?
But then things aren't certain anymore.
Yeah.
You have to be prepared to deal with uncertainty.
Yes, but I think here, and we will reach step by step to the other point I wanted to talk about, its language, because you just referred to it, but I'd like to deepen a little bit this point. But one of my ideas is that when we are talking about incompleteness, it's like when we are talking about indeterminism in quantum physics. Mm-hmm. It's like if we were too shy. So, because the dominant paradigm is actually determinism, the dominant paradigm is still completeness of the theories. Theory is supposed to be completeness. Yeah. We are defining it with a negative word, like words, like saying what we are talking about is not determinism, or it's not complete. And so by doing that, we are actually playing the game using those words of the people that are criticizing ourselves, us. I mean, if we are putting this us, I think both of us, for instance, in the case of people that thinks that incompleteness is good and indeterminism is good, you know? So I think we have to work on our vocabulary, almost on a psychoanalytic way. That's the reason why.
A positive vocabulary.
Exactly. That's the reason why I use the word chaos in Greek and saying it's a positive word in Greek. It's not what it became when you say chaos in Latin, and it means disorder, like privation, negation. We have to get rid of these little particles that is not. It's not determinism. It's not. No. We
have to say what it is.
Exactly. When we say, that's the reason why I love to use this word that I took in Rilke poetry, that is openness. You know, because openness is positive. It doesn't mean that something is lacking. On the contrary, it means that when we are talking about determinism, it is at that time that we cut something and we eradicate something. So it's when something is missing in order to make it useful, there is something missing. So that doesn't mean that it's bad, because you need to cut things to make it useful, but it's at that time that you are losing something. So it will be, so in my work I said, oh, what you called order, with a positive word that is actually, it's actually the negative word, we have to call it de-chaos, not chaos. So not.
Yeah, I call it a cemetery.
Yeah, exactly. You could say that.
The Hilbert stream would have been a cemetery for pure mathematics. So it would have given absolute truth, but it would also be a cemetery.
That's the reason why I like also when we say indeterminism, instead of saying indeterminism, I rather call it liberty.
Yeah, you know? Right. Incompleteness is taking what the amazing thing that Gödel discovered, and it's saying what it's not. It's not complete. But we need a positive word to say what it is. Well, exactly. It's open and creative.
Exactly.
And then it sounds good.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's interesting.
And then it sounds liberating.
Exactly. It sounds liberating, and it doesn't sound like it is actually, when you say indeterminism, it's like if it was something that puts you into this negativity, puts you in jail. Well, it's the opposite. It opens a jail.
Right. I mean, also, Laplace's demon, this totally deterministic world,
completely mad, actually.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
If it were true for 1 second,
we're all machines with no freedom, no liberty, and
it's completely,
everything is predictable.
And it's not even logical, because if you go at the end of the process, doesn't mean much. But we already went through that. But
this is a vision of the world that makes life meaningless in a way.
It makes life meaningless, and it's the complete opposite of this idea of infinity.
Which is liberating.
We have to live in finite
open.
world. But if we think about finite world, you say this finite world, finite means it has boundaries. So where is it in? In another finite world? And what is the finite world? There is none because you can't find it. Even when we talk about like these 14 billion, 13 and so billion years, it's supposed to be the beginning of the universe, and we know the universe is finite. We don't even understand what we are meaning when we are saying that. Just like we are like, what is it that is this finite world that is inside something or before or after? It's again to come back to Kant, what is called like the antinomy of pure reasons. So, but antinomy are good because it actually shows us.
Yeah, they're good. They're fertile.
Exactly.
This is where you see that ideas collide, and there's a possibility for something new to emerge.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
that's the moment where ideas
Leibniz says
collide.
that. He says, how do you say? I don't know. It's some phrase in French that there are no paradoxes. That are, how do you say?
Sorry, I don't have that.
They're fertile. I can't remember the original French. Il n'y a aucun paradoxe sans fertilité. I have that on one of my books or something like that.
It's actually exactly that. There is no paradox without fertility. The paradox is itself some kind of, is actually the window.
It's a door.
It's a window
out of a prison
in which you can look beyond.
Right.
That's what is a paradox about. And people feel so bad, so scared about paradoxes, that it's the moment where most of the time they actually shut the door, shut the window. Well, it's the opposite. It's when you can look outside. So now to talk about language, this idea of pure language, and so that the when you were talking about Hilbert,
the artificial language that would be completely
exactly. So it will be a language because that will be a language that will get rid of all those differences, little nuance, cultural nuance, and all that.
Right. The question of pronoun, it's never absolutely certain what a pronoun refers to, for example.
Exactly.
So you have to eliminate them if you make
you have to eliminate all that.
A perfectly precise language.
Yeah, because the question of language when we are talking about knowledge is just fundamental. It's just like, because when we are talking about language, to prove knowledge, to prove that we actually have a knowledge is to be able to transmit it. It's just like
how do you state
to describe
knowledge?
It?
Knowledge has to be stated.
Exactly.
What it is that you know has to be stated, so you need a language.
Exactly.
And that reminds me of one of my favorite books. It's by Umberto Eco, and it's called The Search for the Perfect Language in the English version. I think it was translated into 5 different languages, European languages.
Yeah, it is exactly that. So we tend to think that there exists somewhere out there a language that will be the pure language referring to the pure knowledge.
Well, Hilbert wanted that for math, but following Umberto Eco's book, he says in the Middle Ages, people were looking for the language of creation, the language that God used to create the universe.
Yeah, but it's principio erat verbum, we say in Latin. In the beginning, there is the verb.
Yes.
Of God itself.
Right. The act of creation is a linguistic act, or it's God says something and something comes into being.
Yeah, and
he summons it forth by naming it.
The word is active. It's not only a word. It is not a description. It's an action. The word itself is an action. It's verbum. It's not a noun. It's verbum. It's a verb.
It's an action.
Like it's just the verb is the active part of the sentence. So therefore, it means. It creates what it actually says because it's God. So God can't think and verbalize something without it to exist.
Without summing it into being.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.